What's up, Sixth String Country? My name is Daniel Donato. Thank y'all so much for watching. We're going to go over the approach and technicalities to my song, Forgotten Days. One thing that I start off the solo with, since we're starting off here, is I love to start off with this double stop pattern. Fast. It's kind of like a loop. It's like if you were to open it on Logic, the bar that you would loop would look like this. And you just loop that. Very slowly. The thing you want to see here is you want to be able to see the triad that you're playing around. Think of triads as bases on a baseball field. You always want to know where it is, and you want to always be going to it. You want to have a plan to get there. And surrounding the vicinity of these satellite objects that are triads are scales. You have your minor scales. You have your major scales. Surrounding those, major triads. So I'm kind of playing out of this minor pentatonic while also incorporating a triad, a double stop, if you will. And now when our chord change goes back to G, we can alternate with the same pattern. As you can see, I'm fingering this G major triad. G, B, D, 1, 3, 5. This figure repeated slowly looks like this. Sliding in from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret. That is it. One more time. Practice it 1,000 times. Practice it 1,000 more times. Practice it 1,000 times, go on stage, mess up, get a new idea, and then you get this. All that was me messing around with the location of this triad, incorporating this double stop pattern with other notes that were consonant to the key that we're playing in. So let's take out the movement and look at just the notes we're hitting. We're doing 4-3, B, D, 5-5, C, E, 3-3, D, G. And we're coming back, alternating around that flat 7-1, 3-5, F, G thing, so. And then I exited the lick by resolving with a smooth, single note melodic line, which is just a really bourgeois way of saying playing within the minor pentatonic scale. Ending with a major inflection. So, the whole figure so far. Let's talk about going to the 5 chord. The thing that's really important about the 5 chord is that is when you most notably have to change a key. So most of us have started guitar through the medium that was blues. And the thing about blues is that it is largely minor pentatonic based. Aside from the graces, that is B.B. King's main style of playing, we hear mainly minor pentatonic stylings. And what's really fantastic about that is that is the major highway of communication for most guitar players. And so if you understand the pentatonic scales, then you can simply copy and paste them and move them 3 frets back, and then voila, you have your major scales. And then there's a whole skill set that needs to be developed while incorporating both of those. And the gateway necessity for doing that, at least for me, was country music. Country music is on guitar is largely 50% minor, 50% major. And so I think about how much of sweet and how much of sour, major, minor, am I incorporating into my phrasing. And I like to end in contrast of where I started. So if I start out mean, I like to end out with something nice. Or if I start out nice, I like to end with something mean and fancy, maybe something fast. And the same thing goes for dynamic. If I start with a bend and something that's very flowy, I like to finish with something that's very single note melodic line punchy. Hence why we started out with this double stop. Something very blocky, and then we ended with something that was very Tetris piece, singular Lego piece. So you always want to be thinking about contrast, both within the dynamic of what you're playing, but then also within the literal phrasing of what you're playing. Having said that, when you're alternating between 4 and 1, those two chords share a lot of similar notes. So you can kind of just always play in 1 if you wanted to. But when you go to 5, that's the ultimate tension in the most basic sense of music. 1 and 5, 1 and 5. It's where it's the teeter-totter of tension and release. So you in no way whatsoever want to stay in the release mode when the entire band is moving to tension. That is a sound that throws a listener off. And there's enough guitar players doing that in the world this day. So it really would benefit you to simply take your knowledge that you have of pentatonic scales and the familiarity that you'll have out of this and just move it to the 5 chord. Because every single note out of that position works within the key of G. There's no note in there that's wildly so dissonant that you can't play it. So when we go to the 5, I like to make big leaps for the listener to say, okay, here's the 5 chord, here's some tension. And it's just gonna add to the dynamic and listenability of your solo. I don't even know if listenability is a word. I think you know what I'm getting at here. Say we go to the 5 here, something that'd be really great coming out of this melodic phrase. Simply just go into the 5, land on the 5. And then back to the G. So the chord structure we'll be moving with will be So I'm going to analyze this lick that I played on the 5 chord for you. So this 5 lick, this D major lick, very simple. Resolving back to your G major. So all I'm doing is targeting these D notes. You'll notice, out of everything we've talked about content-wise on the instrument, that's the most simple thing. That's really important. If you're gonna provide the listener with a lot of information and technical prowess, it's important that when it comes time for the major melodic dynamic shift in the song, such as going to the 5 chord, the chord with the most tension, it might make sense to just shorten your sentences a little and really just let them know that there is a break and there is release coming. And this may not all be common sense. Especially being a guitar player, you want to get the most amount out said within the shortest period of time. But simplicity is a valuable thing. Yeah. You could also make it very complicated. That would look like this, a little bit slower. slower. That's great. We'll run through the whole solo real quick. This song I consider to be a bluegrass song for two reasons. The tempo of the song, and then two, the chords and the pace of their changes. And so let's go over those right quick. We're going to start on the 4 chord, being in the key of G. We're going to start on the C, that is our 4, G, A, B, C. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 1, 1, 5, 1. So let's analyze that right quick. This was very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 for 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we walked up. A cool thing you can do to walk up to start over the next solo section would be to use this Merle Travis / Chet Atkins / Tommy Emmanuel / Daniel Donato chordal movement, which goes like this. Yeah, so one more time. So those are the chords for Forgotten Days.